Howdy students, I hope you're all doing good. Today in this video I will be explaining to you the poetic devices used in the poem How to Tell Wild Animals by Carolyn Wells. But before we begin, let me give you the gist of the poem. In this humorous poem, the poetess Carolyn Wells has told us about some humorous ways, some dangerous and adventurous ways of identifying various wild animals. Praise of beasts of prey. Now we'll move on to the rhyming scheme of the poem, and after that we'll be discussing the poetic devices used in the poem. If ever you should go by chance. So this we will mark as A because this line ends with chance. To jungles in the east. Now east is what the second line ends with, but it does not rhyme with chance, so we will mark it as B. And if there should to you advance. Now advance is rhyming with chance, so we'll mark it as A because it is rhyming. We have already found the rhythm of it, this chance. A large and tawny beast. Now beast rhymes with east, so we'll mark it as B again. If he roars at you as you are dying. Now dying, it neither rhymes with beast or east, and nor does it rhyme with chance or advance. So we have a new rhyme pattern here, and we're going to mark it as C. You'll know it is the Asian lion. Now lion is a nearby rhyme of dying, so we'll also mark it as C. So the rhyming scheme of the verse becomes A B C C. In this poem, the same rhyming scheme has been followed throughout the poem. We'll see another verse to confirm it. The first line of the verse ends with round, A, and then we have U, B, and then we have ground, which rhymes with round, so we will use A. Now U, it is the same rhythm as U obviously, and then we have learn, and then we have discern, and learn and discern rhyme with each other, so CC. So the rhyming scheme of second verse also is A B C C. The third verse, view is the ending of the first line, so we mark A, and now peppered, which does not rhyme with view, we use B. U rhymes with view, so A, and leopard rhymes with peppered, so B. Pain and gain rhyme with each other, but they do not rhyme with U or peppered or view or leopard, so C and C. A B C C. In the next verse again, yard and hard rhyme with each other, there and beer rhyme with each other, and I guess and caress rhyme with each other. So yard A for there, B, hard which rhymes with yard we are going to use A again, and bear which rhymes with there we are going to use bear rhymes with there, so we are going to use B again. And if you have any doubts, I guess, so C which rhymes with caress, A B C C. Next two verse 2, they follow the same pattern. A, pray, non plus does not rhyme with pray. May rhymes with pray, so A. Thus rhymes with non plus, so B. Smiles and crocodiles rhyme with each other, but they do not rhyme with pray or non plus or may or thus, so A B C C. Again, the last verse, chameleon is small. A thing does not rhyme with small, so B. at all rhymes with small means A, wing rhymes with B, thing means B, and tree and C rhyme with each other and none of the words above, so C and C. So the rhyming pattern followed throughout the poem is A, B, A, B and C, C. Now we'll talk about the poetic devices used in the poem. The first one is enjambment. Enjambment is the poetic device in which we break the line without any punctuation mark. A sentence is split into two lines without a punctuation mark. Like the first two lines, if ever you should go by chance to jungles in the east. So this is enjambment. We have not used any punctuation mark, but we have given a line break over there. And if there should to you advance a large and tawny beast. In third and fourth line, two enjambment has been used, and then again in fifth and sixth line also enjambment have been used in the first verse. The second poetic device used in this is inversion. Inversion is changing the format of a sentence. And why do we change the format of a sentence? Why are we not following the regular format of a sentence? We do it to keep the rhythm of the poem intact. See, this poem was all about rhythm. So, to keep it intact, to keep it in check, we can use this liberty of inversion. We change the format of the sentence, like if there should to you advance a large and tawny beast. The regularly, if we were writing it normally or otherwise, we would have written that if you go to the jungles in the east and if a large and tawny beast advances towards you. So, but we have not used it here. We have changed the format of a sentence to keep the rhythm of the poem intact, to keep the impact the same as it is. The next one is assonance. In assonance, there is repetition of vowel sound. It might be in the starting of a word, at the starting of the word, or somewhere in between the words. It does not matter that it should be at the starting of the word in a single line. Okay. Here you can see in the first line there is you should, and there in the third line there is should to you, and then there is repetition of a sound to a large and tawny beast. So this is assonance, repetition of vowel sound within a line, the same vowel sound. Okay, and then we have personification, in which the pronouns used for humans have been used for animals. He roars at you. This personification has been used vividly throughout the poem. Every animal has been called with he at some point in the verse. The next poetic device used here is allusion. Allusion is the poetic device when we are referring to some famous animal or book or thing or person. In this we are referring to a famous animal, Asian lion. So these are the poetic devices used in the first verse. There is repetition of poetic devices like allusion, personification in every verse, because there is reference to some famous animals in every verse, and there is reference to he, usage of he pronoun for animals in every verse. We'll continue to the next verse now. The first poetic device is or if sometime when roaming round. The first poetic device is alliteration, repetition of ra sound at the starting of two words. Now let me tell you, alliteration is the repetition of consonant sound, and that too at the starting of the word. The words start with that particular sound or consonant. Ra, roaming, ra, round. So, roaming round is alliteration, and in consonants, there it is not specifically asked that this repetition should be in the starting of the word, at the starting of the words. The next poetic device here is inversion again, the Bengal tiger to discern. We have changed the format of the sentence. This simple rule may help you learn how to discern Bengal tiger should be the proper format of the sentence, but to keep it in rhythm, to keep the poem rhythmic, we have changed the format of the sentence. The next poetic device is assonance. Assonance is repetition of vowel sound, I've already told you, and in this the vowel sound being repeated is E in the second line, beast greets. The next one is allusion. I've told you it has been used in every verse. Now, moving on to the next verse, the first one we say is alliteration. In this, ha sound is being repeated. He has in the third line. You can see it in front of you. The next device is assonance, repetition of vowel sound, strolling forth, do no good to roar. So this is repetition of O sound. We have next poetic device called repetition. Repetition is repetition of a particular word or phrase within a line. Okay, he'll only lep and lep again. So this is repetition. We have used it for more than two or more than 2 times. This is called repetition. The next poetic device is poetic license. As soon as he has leapt on you, lep and lep again. Now this poetic license or poetic liberty is used by poets in which they change the spellings of a sentence, they change the rules of the grammar, they use the language by messing up the rules of the grammar to keep the rhythm or the tone of the poem very much specific as they want it to not get the rhythm of the poem or the impact of the poem disturbed. I am explaining it again. The poetic license or poetic liberty is used by poets to keep their rhythm, tone and impact of the poems unaltered due to grammar. So they create exceptions for the rules. Like here in this poem, he has used leapt instead of leapt, leapt. And then instead of leap, he has used lep and lep again to keep the impact of the poem the same as they want it to be, to not get the rhythm and everything else, the tone unaltered, the meter of the poem unaltered. So this is poetic license in which they change the spellings or the rules of the grammar according to their own benefit. The next poetic device, this is allusion. As I have already told you, there is personification too. And now coming on to the next work, we find enjambment here, yard, you meet a creature there. So the first 2 lines, when you are walking around your yard, you meet a creature there. So this is the line has been broken without giving a punctuation mark. In every other line you can see there is a comma or a full stop, and then in the last 2 lines too there is enjambment. And after that we come to assonance. Assonance is used. There is repetition of E sound here. And then we have alliteration. If when you're walking, repetition of W sound, Ha sound, who hugs you very very hard, and be sure it is a bear, B sound. So there is repetition. alliteration here. And then we move on to the next poetic device, which is allusion. And then personification and allusion have been used in every verse. Though to distinguish beasts of prey, a novice might nonplus. Told you enjambment is used at 2 times here, in the first 2 lines and then in 3rd and 4th line. Breaking of line without a punctuation mark. And then we have poetic license. A novice might nonplus. This is the wrong format of the sentence entirely. The correct, the tenses, it is not just the format that is different or not grammatically so much intact, but verbs have also been used according to the poet and not according to the grammatical rules. The correct sentence, the perfect sentence there should have been a novice might be nonplussed or might get nonplussed, but he has not used it. Instead, he has used a novice might nonplus, just to keep the rhythm of the poem and tone of the poem, the impact of the poem the way he wanted it to. The next poetic device is allusion, I've told you. And now we come to the last verse, in which we have the first one as alliteration. He hasn't any ears at all. There is repetition of ha sound, and then when we move on further, we have consonants, in which there is consonant sound being repeated but not specifically at the starting of a words. Sing wing, single wing, ga sound is being repeated. Okay, and then allusion is also there. So that's it about the poetic devices used in the poem How to Tell Wild Animals. In the next poem, we'll talk about the next chapter. Until then, happy learning.